Hi, we're on our range today, and I have several different types of ammunition. I have Winchester, Spear Lawman, Blazer Brass, something called Gecko or Gecko. This one is BBM, that's Bravo Bravo Mike BBM. I also have Fiocchi and Soleil and Belot, what some people will call cellular and bellet, what some people will probably more wisely just call S&B so they don't butcher the pronunciation. Now, all of these ammunitions have two things in common. One, they were sent to me by viewers. Thank you very much. Two, they are all 9x19, 115 grain full metal jacket round nose. And the questions that were posed to me are, how will these ammunitions compare in velocity? Not just mean velocity, but the variation in velocity from one round to the next. And how will they compare in terms of accuracy? Well, we'll shoot these side by side and see if we can answer those questions. And of course, as a basis of comparison, we'll see how they all stack up against Remington Green and White Box 9x19, 115 grain full metal jacket round nose. The firearm I'm going to use today is my Sig Sauer M17, which according to my ruler has a 4.5-inch barrel. And today's presentation comes with a couple of caveats. One, I think this will be useful information, but it's going to be very dry. And two, part of the process will of course be some chronograph testing, and a question that I am frequently asked is, why do I leave the chronograph segment in the final presentation? Why don't I just leave that out and go right to the chart with numbers? And the answer is because a very high number of people ask me to leave the chronograph segment in. They want to see it as it happens, they want to see the numbers, they want to do the math themselves. But if you find the chronograph segment tedious, I invite you to fast forward to the part where you see me standing next to the chart with the numbers on it. So, all of that having been said, let's get started, and we'll start with some tedious chronograph testing. I've got the chronograph set up at 7 yards, and I'm going to start with Remington Green and White Box 9x19, 115 grain full metal jacket round nose. $11.32. $11.06. $11.05, $11.18, $11.27, $11.05, and $11.13. Let's try another type of ammo. And now our Winchester White Box. $11.64, $11.45, $11.52, $11.48, $11.57, and $11.63. Let's try another type of ammo. And now, Blazer Brass. $10.94. $1100. $11.04. $10.94, $11.11, and $10.99. Let's try another type of ammo. And now we'll try our Fiocchi ammunition. The other types of ammo I'm using today do not have a muzzle velocity advertised on the box. The Fiocchi does, and what they've printed on the box is 1,200 feet per second. Let's see what kind of results I get. $11.01. $10.78. $10.93. $10.75. $10.99. and 1095. We know, of course, that chronographs don't always agree with each other, but that is significantly less than the 1200 they advertised. And I can feel in the recoil that no, it's not particularly powerful ammunition. But let's try another type of ammo. And now our Sillet and Bilot. $11.60. $11.80. $11.67. $11.63. $11.74. $11.76. And $11.63. Let's try another type of ammo. And now our Geeko ammo. $10.18. $10.51. $10.58. $10.49. Stand by. $10.57. $10.57. $10.52. And $10.63. When you get the same reading twice in a row, that's often indicative that one of them is erroneous, so we'll throw out one of those 1057s. And now our BBM ammunition, which according to the box stands for Battle-Born Munitions. $10.91. $10.99. $10.76. $10.88. $11.02. $10.95. And $11.11. Let's try another type of ammo. And finally, our Speer Lawman ammunition. $11.82. $11.98. $12.04. $12.10. $11.78. $12.10. $12.19. And $11.78. Now, let's go crunch the numbers. Well, I crunched the numbers and here they are. Now, typically I would memorize these numbers, but in this case there are too many numbers to do that, so bear with me if I have to look at the chart. So our basis of comparison ammunition, our Remington green and white box, we see a mean velocity of 1,115 feet per second with a variation from the lowest to highest velocity of 27 feet per second. With our Winchester white box, we see a mean velocity of 1,154 feet per second. That's significantly more. And a variation of only 19. It is very common when I compare the Winchester white box to the Remington green and white box that the Winchester will have greater variation. In this case, a little bit less, although I'm going to say probably not enough less to make any difference. Now, our next ammunition, the Blazer brass with a mean velocity of 1,100 and a variation of only 17. Again, I'm going to say that's not enough difference to make a difference. But we see less velocity. Now, our next ammunition, our Fiocchi with a mean velocity of 1,090. This is very interesting. The Fiocchi ammunition had an advertised velocity printed on the box of 1,200 feet per second. Now that would be very high velocity for 9x19 115 grain full metal jacket ammunition. But in this case, not only did the Fiocchi not achieve 1,200, if I had arranged these in order from highest to lowest velocity, of the 8 ammunitions, the Fiocchi would be in 7th place. So it didn't achieve what it advertised, and it didn't achieve results that were really very good. This is a good example of how not all 9mm ammunitions are created equal, and it's a good example of how the advertised velocity on the box is sometimes optimistic. Now our next ammunition, our Soleil and Below ammunition, with an velocity of 1,169 feet per second, that is impressive. But when we go from there to the Gecko ammunition, this becomes the archetype of showing us that not all 9mm ammo is created equal. With a mean velocity of 1,049 and a variation of 45 from the lowest to highest velocity, this is rather poor performance. Another good example of that is our BBM ammunition, with a mean velocity of 1,094 and a variation of 35. Now remember, BBM stands for Battle-Born Munitions, which sounds really cool. But so often I have found that when ammo has a title that has a lot of hype, the performance does not back up the hype. So when I had a box of Speer Lawman ammunition, you would understand my skepticism. But in this case, the Speer delivered a velocity of 1,197 feet per second. Now granted, it does have a variation of 41, which is quite a bit, but still, that's impressive velocity. It, however, brings up the topic of, why are they calling full metal jacket ammo Lawman ammunition? Okay, here in the United States, the overwhelming majority of police officers are carrying jacketed hollow point, semi-jacketed hollow point, some kind of VMAX or ballistic tip, some kind of expanding projectile. However, in a lot of foreign countries, they don't. In some foreign countries, they don't even have extreme penetrators or some other kind of non-expanding performance ammunition. Quite often, they're relegated to just full metal jacket round nose. So, if you had a 9mm and you were relegated to full metal jacket round nose ammunition, that might be a good choice. But when you put all of this together and you put all of these variations together, it also brings up the question, how will these ammunitions compare for accuracy? Let's see if we can test that. So I've got some targets set up and I will shoot the different bullseyes with the different types of ammunition. Typically when I'm doing accuracy comparisons, I will just shoot offhand, and there's reasons for that. However, today I want to take as much of me out of the equation as possible. So I'm going to shoot from a rest at 25 yards. Also, we have to remember that sometimes different ammunitions will hit in different places, so we want to concern ourselves not so much with the location of the group, but the size of the group. Well, here's our first 6 types of ammunition, and we can see that the Remington has a fairly good group, but high. The Winchester White Box has a good group, maybe even better, and centered. The Blazer Brass has a pretty good group, and then 1 flyer. Normally I would say that's me, but in this case, I don't think it was. So we'll reshoot this group and see if we get any more flyers. The Fiocchi ammunition, we see a good group, but it's off a little bit. This shows us that not all ammunition will hit in the same place. Our Soleil and Below ammunition, again, a good group, but off a little bit. And this one up here, that was just me. Our Geeko ammunition has a very poor group, and that's really no surprise. Now, let's take a look at our last 2 targets. With our BBM ammunition, our group is off a little bit, but it is a good group except for 1 flyer. Was that me or just the ammunition? We'll reshoot this type of ammo as well. With our Speer Lawman ammunition, we see a rather poor group. So I'll go back 25 yards, I'll shoot from a rest, I'll reshoot the BBM and the Blazer Brass, and we'll see how many flyers we get. With our BBM ammunition, we see a good group and 1 flyer, and I do not think that was me. This may be an occurrence to which the ammunition is prone. But with our Blazer Brass ammunition, we see a very good group, so perhaps the flyer we had earlier was just me. One more thing to add to our accuracy comparison is that when I have my pistol zeroed with a certain type of ammunition, then I change ammunition, that may shift my point of impact, but just because I get that result with my pistol does not mean that you'll get that result with your pistol. Each combo of pistol and ammo can be different. But the real bottom line is that we saw that our ammunitions did vary in terms of velocity, sometimes significantly so. We also saw that our ammunitions varied in terms of accuracy, sometimes significantly so. So as I've said ad nauseum, caveat emptor. And as always, don't try this at home on what you call a professional, and thanks for watching the 9x19 115 grain full metal jacket ammunition video.